Hi, my name is Randy Kirk, and today we're going to talk about the environment. We're going to talk about quality of life on Earth. We're going to talk about global warming or climate change or greening policies. We're going to talk about all those things. And if that's interesting to you, and if you'd like to hear a completely different point of view, hang in there. I think you're going to find that I'm not what people might think. So this is if this is the kind of content you like, please subscribe. And there's a Patreon channel if you'd like to do that as well. All right, let's start. Let's be straight up. I'm a Ronald Reagan conservative. That's how I describe myself. I thought Ronald Reagan was the greatest president in my lifetime. I still think he's the greatest president that's been since that time. And I think that was true for a lot of reasons, some of which are kind of similar to Elon Musk principles of how he attacked things and how he executed on things. But that's my politics, okay? Because I have those politics, you should assume that I think that oil is wonderful and that gas-powered cars are the best, and that we should not worry about how much CO2 we're putting in the atmosphere, and we shouldn't worry about particulates, and we shouldn't worry about any of the other issues that have to do with the greening of America. Well, you'd be completely wrong about that. So just very quickly, I worked on Prop 1, handing out petitions back before almost any of you were born. Anyway, back in I think it was 68 or 69, was when Prop 1 took place. And Prop 1 was, of course, an environmental proposition. I was in law school at the time, or undergrad, I can't remember. And I was out there fighting for cleaner air and for, a better Los Angeles. But it wasn't the only thing I did. I ended up being in the bicycle industry for my entire career. So for my entire career, I've been promoting the idea of using bicycles as an alternative to automobiles. Right now, my only remaining client in the bicycle industry is selling electric bikes. So there you go. I have a solar roof on what was my residence and now is a rental property and it also has the latest, greatest air conditioning system, as well as a steel roof. So all the things that I could possibly do to upgrade that house to be environmentally safe and appropriate. I have purchased a Tesla for my wife 2 years ago. I hope you're beginning to get the point. I am not on the same space as some of my conservative friends when it comes to environmentalism. Having said that, I also do not believe that the earth is in any danger of melting down, blowing up, of human beings dying from the sun's rays. Not much less in my lifetime, I don't believe ever. So why don't I believe that? Why I don't think that CO2 is an issue. I think CO2 could be an issue. I think that the world is putting CO2 into the atmosphere, and that this amount of CO2 that's going into the atmosphere could be an issue. It could be a greenhouse problem, but it may not be, because CO2 also causes plants to grow faster, and warm air causes plants to grow faster and more abundantly. And so we've seen the greening of the planet because of CO2 and slightly warmer temperatures. That results, of course, in that those plants absorbing more CO2, which means that they would be creating a cycle that we don't know how it plays out. Algae on the ocean is another example of where there's more algae on the ocean. The more algae there is, it absorbs the CO2. It then sinks to the bottom of the ocean, becomes a CO2 storehouse, and then more algae grows, and this repeats and repeats. There are people who believe that the fastest way to get rid of CO2 in the atmosphere would be to grow lots and lots of algae, to purposely go out and make sure that we grow more algae in the ocean. Might work, might not, might have some consequences that we don't know about. I think there's a lot of potential things going on there, and I don't think anybody really gets it. But I will tell you that nobody that I've talked to so far, I've had so many disagreements and arguments with people about global warming over the years. I read the IPCC. They haven't. They never have. None of them have ever read the international policy. I forget what it's called now. Darn it. Anyway, the IPCC, the United Nations paper that is written and rewritten over the years, the IPCC doesn't say that there's going to be a catastrophic end to this. It doesn't, even if the temperature of the planet goes up over 3 degrees Fahrenheit, there is not a catastrophic end. The end, according to the IPCC, if it really goes bad, is that people will have to move a lot. I'm not being silly here. No, there would be migration. If everything goes wrong, there would be migration, and there would be required mitigation. Mitigation like we already have in places like New Orleans and Venice, Italy, and other places which are very low already to sea level. They know how to mitigate against this. So we may have to mitigate. We are air conditioning more and more. Homes are being air conditioned, and that's going to be more efficient when Elon comes out with his HVAC system. But I think you begin to see that I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not really extreme either way. I'm not saying that carbon doesn't matter. I'm saying that we don't really know how much it matters, and we don't know how much of the increase in temperature is caused by the carbon, or maybe there's other causes. And we also don't know whether there's some good coming out of it, because we do know that the Earth has been greening over this period of time and feeding more people, and there's almost no starvation left in the world, at least to the point of death. So there's lots and lots of places that we can disagree, we can agree. What's my point here? My point is, I think there are some things that we can't agree on. And here's from my heart. I think what we can agree on is that particulates are bad. That's where I started 50 years ago, over 50 years ago, fighting for was particulates. Smog is not good. I think we can all agree on that. It stings the eyes. It makes the views poor. You can't see the mountains on certain days because of smog. It was way worse back then, but there's still days like that in Southern California. And I'm sure there is in lots of cities around the world where you're like, man, look at that ugly smog out there. But that ugly smog is getting into your lungs and it's getting into your eyes. And there's definitely some negatives associated with those particulates. And some of those particulates are worse than others, but I think it'd be a good idea to get rid of all of them. And one of the ways to get rid of all of them is to completely go electric. Electric cars, electric homes, electric businesses, everything electric. Get rid of all the fossil fuels. What's another thing that we can agree on? I think we can agree that maybe someday there might be an end to fossil fuels. It may not be, as many people were saying just 20 years ago, just 10 years ago, oh my gosh, we've already reached the max. There's not enough fuel on the planet to continue to fuel this population. Well, we've proven that wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong again. They keep on finding new resources. Let's assume that there is a limit. There's a possible limit on oil, natural gas, etc. Well, there's no limit to the sun. There's no limit to the wind. And there's almost no limit to the silicon and to the other earth metals and earth properties that we need in order to build wind machines and sun power and also batteries to back them up. So I think we could possibly agree on that. Can we agree on one more thing? We can't do this overnight. I think it's going to happen really fast. I think it's going to largely take place in the next 7 years. And I think there's going to be another 5 or 6 or 7 years where you'll almost not see oil or natural gas or coal or charcoal or wood or anything else being used as a method to create much energy. I think it will be very, very fast, the transition. The reason I think it's going to be fast is because there's money to be made and there's money to be saved. So if you could save money, if you could save, let's say your electric bill right now on your house is $200 a month and your gas bill is $100 a month, $300 a month, and you could eliminate gas. And because of solar, wind, and batteries, your electric bill went down to $150 instead of being $200. So now you're paying $150 a month instead of $300. Would you be for that? Would that be good? Would you be okay with that transition? Now, it's not like we haven't transitioned in energy before. In America, when I was growing up, it was coal and then oil. A lot of people are still using steam in their homes, steam generators. I think there's some of those still out there. So we went from coal, then we went to oil. I had one home that I lived in. We were pumping oil into the house once a month. And then we went to natural gas, which has been around for a long time. But that was just in a few years we made those transitions, and it wasn't the end of the world to make those transitions. So it's not going to be the end of the world this time either. We can make the transitions. There will be disruptions. There will be people who have to change jobs. There will be companies that will either change what they're manufacturing or go out of business. Those things are true. There's no getting around it. But for those who would like to save the money, whether that's the industry, whether that is the utility that wants to save money, whether that is the government that wants to save money, or whether that's you and me in our homes that want to save money, if we see that there's a savings, typically we're going to want those savings. If we can have those savings and at the same time not have to make choices, we get to save the money at the same time that we increase the quality of life, who's going to argue with that? And then countries around the world that are third world countries, as we call them right now, they can leapfrog. They leapfrog on cell phones. It's happening all over the world where people are leapfrogging in terms of the quality of life because they can afford a very, very inexpensive used cell phone. They've leapfrogged on other technology. Well, I think there's going to be a leapfrogging when it comes to solar combined with battery in these third world countries all over the place, where they're going to move into second world. Some of them are already moving into first world nations. Think about this for a minute. 50 years ago, South Korea, Singapore, and Seoul were basically destroyed. Those three cities had been bombed to oblivion. And now, 70 years later, those three countries are the cleanest, highest tech, safest cities in the world. So it doesn't take long. It's not that hard to do. It's a matter of will and recognizing what the technology is that can make it happen. Now, how does all this apply to Tesla? All this applies to Tesla because Elon Musk and Tesla are at the forefront of making this happen. If we can make this transition into an electric world, it's going to be a better world. It's going to be a cleaner world. It's going to be a safer world. It's going to be a healthier world. And it's going to be a world filled with abundance. If this content has meant anything to you, if you think this is valuable, pass it along to your friends. Pass it along to your conservative friends who are all worried about the disruption and all worried about the end of oil and all worried about whether there's going to be enough electricity to make this happen. This is just the beginning of the story. This is just as much as I could do in a short period of time. Pass it along to your conservative friends. If your liberal friends are all worried about Elon Musk and whether he's nuts or whether he's slightly to the right of center now, or what is Elon Musk doing and he's a multi-billionaire so you can't trust him, send this video along to them and show them what is at stake. What is at stake is a better world for you and for me and for everybody. If you like this content, please like it, please share it, and please subscribe and join my Patreon. And hey, I've really enjoyed talking to you today.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.